Hi, guys.
Hello. So welcome, Indy. We have our podcast. It's called Culture. We talk about our culture, which is Portuguese. Our parents are Azorean immigrants from the Azores Islands. The island of San Miguel is where both of our families are from.
Oh, nice.
We love to talk about culture. We like to branch out to different cultures. So it's really interesting for you. When I saw you on Big Brother, I was like, wait a minute, she speaks Portuguese, but it's Brazilian. And that's a whole world that we don't know a whole lot about. That's a whole different place.
It's so different. It's super different. Every time that I went to Portugal and people were like trying to speak Portuguese to me, I'm like, you're so different. People don't get it, but
there are two different dialects. So like, even if you do a language learning thing, like if you go on to Duolingo, you have to pick whether you want European Portuguese or Brazilian Portuguese because they sound so different.
Yes, they do.
And it's weird because when you are on like Instagram and you're making posts, if you're just speaking Portuguese, I have a harder time understanding it. But when you put the captions in Portuguese, I can read it and follow along just fine.
Yeah. That's good to know.
I'm like, oh my God, I can't. The accents are so different than what we speak.
Yes.
And yours is more beautiful to listen to.
Yeah.
Ours
is very rough.
Ours is very brute.
Thank you so much.
I think I read something, and I had never heard this until I started trying to see the difference between Brazilian, Portuguese, and European. They say you pronounce all of the vowels, and nós comemos vowels. We eat the vowels.
And even in English, like I think yesterday the girls called me, Jasmine, Amira, and Alisa, they were on a trip and they called me. I couldn't go. I had like a lot of friends coming over for Halloween, but they called me and they were like, okay, let's set up a trip to Atlanta. And I'm like, that is not the way you say. You guys don't speak proper. You should say Atlanta.
And even in English, you pronounce all the vowels. And we
that's the way that we do, like it's so hard. I think my accent in English it's heavier because of that, because I read the word as it is. So that's what we do in Portuguese. It's not like we don't eat the letters. So
when I heard that, I was like, oh my God. And I started thinking about it. I had never thought of it. And I started thinking, and I was like saying some words, and I'm like, "Oh my God, we eat the vowels. We do not pronounce any vowels." So I want to do one thing for our listeners before we kind of get into our whole conversation that we're going to talk about. But language-wise, you count to 10, and then I'm going to count to 10 in Portuguese, just so they can hear how different it sounds.
Okay. So I go straight 1 to 10, or
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And not far off.
That's not too bad.
Not too bad.
Mine would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like there's no vowels at the end of that anywhere.
She does like the oito, and we do it.
Yes.
Oito. Yeah.
we ate the O at the end of the word. Like it was delicious. So I have 3 more words. These are the last 3, and then we can like move on from that. But I was trying to figure out like specifically what the differences were. And one of them was, say this word was my Portuguese teacher when I was in high school that taught us to read and write and all of that. She was from Brazil. And the way that she used to pronounce things, we would be like, oh my God, what is she saying? So say this word.
Leite.
It's different.
Chi. So the Brazilian does the chi sound for a T. And we just say lit. Lit. It's so plain.
It's so different. And it's like, that's why I had so like a lot of hard time to speak Portuguese in Portugal. It was like, not the same.
I know. Okay. So I said I had 3. So this is the second one.
Okay. Dinheiro.
Yes, you put like a J sound for the D, right? Like dinheiro.
Yep. It sounds sophisticated.
It does. It does. We just say dinheiro. And this is the last one, and this one is kind of subtle. The difference. We might not even be able to hear it, but I'm curious.
Pedras.
Oh, you did like an SH sound there. Because I read on a website that Brazilians pronounce the S like just a regular S, like and
but depend the accent. Like my accent's more like towards like Rio, and then like we push more the S on it.
Yeah,
like when we speak. So other people say it's different. That's always
okay.
Yeah,
we do.
Like, place in Brazil like
have different
way.
Yeah, like so same with us here in the States.
Yeah.
Depending where you are, we have the different accents.
Because we do like an SH sound at the end of this too, like padras. It's like a very
those are that's the same.
I know. I was just curious. But so let's start with current events. I saw, and I don't know anything about this at all, but I saw that Brazil elected a new president.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And so it seemed like you were very happy about that. And it seemed like it was a good move away from kind of like right-wing type of politics.
Yes. To be honest, like I am not 100% like, satisfied about what happened, but it was pretty much like, this is not good, but this is worse.
Yes. The lesser of two evils. Yeah.
Kind of our situation that we had.
It's pretty much like I am a Democrat. I'm so proud of us to have like our own opinion and women being able to vote. We keep like talking about that, and people don't think that's that much important. But if you Google like how many countries and how many women still cannot work, cannot vote, cannot dress up as they want, cannot like refuse to get married, cannot get divorced, cannot like in the whole entire planet that we live, it's huge. The numbers are huge. So I lived in Dubai like for 5 months, and I was like the way that the religion, I love Dubai and I love the Arabics. I love them so much. And I think that's the reason me and Joseph, we connect like so badly because like, but even that, like, I do not agree with a lot of things, and like, there's a lot of women that still cannot vote, cannot do a lot of things that we are able. We are like, we are lucky to be able to do it. And in a country that are like, we are mostly of us are artists. In Brazil, everyone, even if like the person doesn't work as an artist, they can dance, they can sing, they can write, they write poetry, like, and they're like we are, it's a culture, it's in our blood. Like we are born like to create, and we are happy people because of that. We are knowing that from like Brazilians are the happy country because we are creatives. We are like, open-minded. And our, like the president that won right now, he was not the best, to be honest. He did a lot of not good stuff before, but the one that is still our president, like from the last 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Everyone had like a little bit of Trump in this country. And a lot of people liked it. A lot of people didn't like it, but he was way worse than that.
Yeah. I don't know too much about it either, but my mom watches a lot of the Brazilian news. She pays like extra for the Brazilian channel and everything. So just having it on the background, they're watching it. I just know during the whole COVID time, like the beginning of COVID, all that, like it was horrible.
Think about your president telling people to do not do the lockdown. Your president telling you that you need to take this type of medicine so you won't get COVID.
Called it like a little flu or something like that.
Yes,
or I remember that.
Just a little flu, and killed like 1 billion of people. It was a lot of people that that died. Okay, we are strong. Okay, we have like, luckily we are not like, our diet and our lifestyle in Brazil is way better than American lifestyle. We do like our bodies, we do work out, we do take care of our food, we do eat well. And there's, even if you were poor, your regular life, your daily basis life is more active than American lifestyle. And I know that for a fact. I lived in America for almost 10 years now. But that doesn't mean like you're gonna tell your the people from your country that the president's like up there and saying like, oh, just get like, a type of Advil and then you're gonna be okay. You won't get COVID. And it's not just that. It's a lot of things.
Right.
Homophobic, xenophobic, like in a lot of ways. We need like someone that at least the minimum that represent us as humans. It doesn't matter your color, doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what side of, because there is a lot of xenophobics in Brazil, because the sides of Brazil, the way that you talk, if you come like for the Northeast, your accent is different. And there is a lot of like conflict, like people saying like, oh, people that come from this side of country is not as smart as people that come from the Southeast, or they're not pretty. And it's so stupid.
That's crazy.
Because people that come from the North, oh God, they're so amazing. Like their culture, it's by itself. It's because like they're more based on an African culture. They believe like their religion is different, their deaths are different, and it's beautiful. And it's like the most amazing person, like, the amazing people. And it's so inspiring. And having like a president that doesn't take that as a representation and say like, Brazil is not just Rio and Sao Paulo. Brazil, Brazil is amazing. The Amazons, like everything that we have with the Indians, like, communities. And it's so beautiful. And you cannot find anywhere else. And why we're gonna have a person sitting up there representing us that he doesn't know anything about us. Right. I know I include myself in us because my grandma, she was African descendant. She was Black. My dad's Black. My other great grandma, she was a native Indian. So I have like I may be like, I was born blonde with hazel eyes, but I'm this freaking mix. And it's like, and I feel so proud that I'm part of all of that.
I love that. Yeah. That's awesome.
And people like make like in Brazil, like when they do like xenophobic comments and stuff like that, they always say like, they call you like, oh, you are Baiana, like, because Bahia is like one of the places that that people used to, like, if you're the Northeast, they make fun of you, like kind of your accent and stuff. And then they call like random people. And I'm like, I was made in Bahia, honey.
Right.
I'm Baiana. And I'm like, so if you want to like find a totally mix, it's me. It's like, I am the 100% mix. It's a big mess. But anyways, I
love that.
No, that's awesome.
You're teaching us a bunch of stuff too. So that's why we love this podcast and being able to talk to people that have similarities to our culture or differences to our culture, because that's how we learn, and we share those things with our listeners too. And that's how we can all get better understandings of each other as human people. Yes. I think that's awesome. So so all I saw about the politics was that, and we'll move on from politics, but all I saw was that he was like not necessarily accepting defeat. And that was just making me so like think of our situation with Trump. And I'm like, oh God. Like,
it was pretty much the same feeling, but it's like, now I have like, we have hope at least. We know that we don't have like someone representing us that it's a homophobic, a xenophobic, and literally, I'm sorry, my French, but a freaking stupid guy, sexist, machismo, and then like machista, and it's like
nobody needs that. Yeah.
No, but we don't need that. And even like, I know like Brazil is, thank God, Brazil is so blessed. And we always say that God loves Brazil the most, because doesn't matter what happened, we are still survive, like we never give up. So
I love that.
That's awesome.
So tell us we saw a little bit of a clip of your immigration background or story on Big Brother. They showed an episode. It was like a bonus episode. I'm sure you've seen it by now, the clip that they showed, but it was pretty short.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there's like more to the story we can dig into, but I know you started working when you were really young, like when you were 14, and then maybe I was trying to do the math. Was it when you were like 20 or so that you immigrated?
When I was 22, when
22.
I finished college in Brazil, I studied journalism in Brazil, and I was working on a TV, and then I was like, this is going to be my life if I stay here. So I want something more. And then I came over to LA.
By yourself?
By myself, with my backpack, with $2,500. I couldn't say hi in English. I didn't have any friends, and it was crazy.
Oh my God.
How do you do that, especially as like a young woman? Because I feel like that's such a vulnerable situation to be in, where people can take advantage of you, where, a lot of times in our families, when people immigrated, it was like the men would come over first, but like to be a young woman alone in a new country, not knowing the language, I can't imagine that. Like, that's so difficult.
I think that's like, first, it's like my personality that I just go for it. I don't really think about like the things that can go wrong. Never. I just know. And I'm like, if it goes wrong, it's okay. I'm just gonna have one more story to tell to my friends,
That's a great way to look at it.
I just like go like, and I don't know about like being afraid as a young woman in a different country, not knowing the language and blah, blah, blah. I think I have like this strong personality that I scare people.
That's awesome.
And in a good way, in a bad way as well, because I know that my masculine energy gets like so high from my personality that like, I think when someone meets me, they already know if it's a guy, and if he's like a toxic or stuff like that, he already knows that he cannot mess with me, like I already make my point right away. I'm like, and the way that I look, Joseph and I think Manti was always saying in the house that they were so scared of me that they were always like afraid that out of nowhere I would explode on them. And I didn't.
Right.
Ever. I was so sweet to them for that whole show, I believe to everyone, most of the time, I didn't have to do it, but it's like the energy, because your energy speaks. So, and then like, I think that's why, like, I always count, like, I'm not afraid that, like, my friends, like, we go out. Of course, we need to be careful. Of course, we need to protect ourselves. I'm not silly. I'm not saying that I'm gonna, walk by myself in a dangerous place, or I don't think that's okay. But of course, I protect myself, and I'm aware what's going on around me. I have my ears are so good, so I can listen every single step, like around me, every single conversation, and then like I pay attention to things. But I also stand up for myself. Like, okay,
that's enough. Yeah.
You can pass here, and like people literally get scared of me. I don't know why. I'm so sweet.
So, but this feels like a difference in cultures, because for us, our Azorian background, like, we're not like assertive in that way. Like, they're very anxious people, and they're very much like scared and fearful of everything. And that's how we were brought up. So it's very different culturally to just say, no, I'm going to be kind of sure of who I am and be assertive and not take any shit from anybody. And I just love that. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I think it's also like the way that I was raised. So it's a lot like I didn't have any option. Like my mom had like my brothers, they were twins, and then like there was a lot of going on in my house, and I had to learn how to stand up for myself and just get my shit together, because I couldn't wait for my mom or my dad to leave their work to go and do this for me or do that for me and do that. No, I had to like, you do what you have to do. So life pushed me in a way that made me mature enough to, okay, I need to fight for my own. stuff, you know. I need to go after my things. So I think that also, like, I still like fight, like, because there's two sides of me that, like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of who I am. And then, like, that brought me to where I'm going, that I don't think that I arrived yet where I want to go, but that, like, brought me up to here. But I also feel that I could have a different life if life was not so hard on me, you know, when I was growing up. So, like, I could be a different person. I didn't have to be, I try to soft up all the time, like, especially like when I'm dating, when I meet someone and I'm like, but it's just like the guy has to be like way more man than I am
Yes.
to keep up with me. And it's crazy because,
they're
like,
not. They're
oh
not. There's not a lot
my
of them.
gosh, I'm like, oh God, you just a chicken. Can you please just leave me alone?
Yes, thank you. It's awful.
But I know, like, there's good part of it, and there's also the bad part that I'm struggling with, but God knows everything.
So did your family ever want to come to America, or did they want to stay in Brazil, or there may have been things that prevented them from coming over? Or
They thought about coming to America, but since, like, I was a flight attendant, I was always flying. I was never home. And then I went on the show. And then, like, I don't know what's gonna happen with my life right now. So I don't even know if I am going, like, to spend more time in Brazil than here. So it's pretty hard to make a commitment to, like, to them, to bring them here. And then I cannot, like, because they don't speak English. So it's gonna be hard for them to adapt here. It's so hard. It was hard for me on 22. Think about them on their 50s.
It's much harder at that age to learn.
It's much harder because you don't have your friends around. You don't have, like, the things that you used to do, like the bakery that you stop every morning to get, you know, some breakfast. So I think it's like that may happen, like, in the future, if I have a family, if I have kids, if, like, it's going to be a different world, and I may bring them up, like, to spend some time here to get their citizenship as well. Since I am a citizen now, I can apply for them. So, you know, there's a lot of things that can happen, but not right now. Like, right now, I'm literally trying to figure out my own life. Like, even like guys asking me for day, I'm like, oh, no, sorry. I can't deal with a man right now.
Yeah. Like, I just got off Big Brother. I'm living my life.
I'm like, sorry, honey. Like, that's not gonna happen.
Oh my gosh. So something that you said in the episode of Big Brother, or the clip that they edited, was that your family, or that you grew up and that your family still lived in what's called, is it a favela?
Favela, yeah.
Is that just like a general term for, like, a type of community?
Yes, it's like, usually we call that ghetto, and we don't say ghetto anymore in America.
Oh, okay.
And but it's the same idea of it.
Yeah, because when you first said it on the show, I was thinking that was like the name of a place. Like, oh, they're from a favela, Brazil.
Nope.
But I was like, oh no, like, that's like the type of community. It's like kind of on the outskirts of the city, maybe, or something like that. But
yes, it's on the hills, and it's like cars cannot go up. It's one house on top of each other.
They're like very much like built on top of each other almost.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. And so does it feel like, in those communities, does it feel like you're kind of stepping back in time? Like, does it feel like it's not necessarily up with the times the same way that you would be in the city or something like that?
Oh, yes, for sure. Yep. It's like a small city, you know, when you go to Mexico and those little communities, the same feeling. Like, everyone knows everybody. Everyone, you know, you go up the hills, you know every single person that lives there, and it's like pretty much that.
Yeah. Have you been back to Brazil since?
No, I haven't been back to my city yet. I'm going for Christmas. And then but it's like me and my parents were kind of like in a fighting moment about, because I really want them to move.
Yeah.
And they are so attached to their house and stuff, and like it's giving me a hard time because
Yeah.
I know how bad it is and how it's not safe. It's not safe for them. It's way unsafer for me right now because I am a public person now. And it's like I cannot just go back.
Right.
You know,
Mom, I'm gonna stay in an Airbnb.
Yes. And I don't want to. I want like, I want to have that with me. I want to go like, I want to like us to, like take a leap of faith and just try to rent or get a new place, and and things, I'm sure things will work out financially and we're gonna be okay, but they're still afraid. So
yeah,
we're fighting.
Oh, I love that. So I was trying to figure out some differences in culture between us as Azorian Portuguese girls and Brazilian Portuguese. And I was looking at some different things. And so is Carnival a big thing for you guys?
Oh my gosh, it's the best party. I lived like Halloween, like I lived Carnival this past weekend. That's like
what I love about Brazil. I've never been, but I love how you guys love to party.
No, it's like I have no freaking limits. I was out every single freaking day since Thursday night, and today's Tuesday. So even last night right now, I was like, I'm creating right now like 30 days challenge on my Instagram for my followers.
Yep,
that's gonna be like so fitness and stuff, and I'm just closing things with my nutritionist and stuff, and I'm like, oh God, today I'm not leaving this house. I'm gonna stay here. Like, to do not like I literally live like my life. My life is a party.
Your whole life is Carnival.
Life is a lot of parties. But Carnival is like the best time ever. And since I didn't have Carnival this year, I enjoy Halloween as Carnival. So if like anyone has a chance to go to Brazil Carnival, to Rio, to Bahia, those places that has the parades, and it's like, oh God, it's the best. And it's beautiful and it's amazing. So
yeah, it looks great when I see it on TV.
It is amazing. And like there's like all those parties on the streets that you don't even have to pay to go, and you see like when they do the parade, you have like the tickets, I don't know, it's $20, I don't know, less than $20 for the parade. But of course there is also VIP stuff. Like the whole thing is amazing.
Yeah.
So like I'm excited. If there was Carnival tomorrow, and after I lived Halloween, I would just like recover today.
Oh my gosh. So it seemed like it was like it had like African inspiration in Carnival, and it also Catholic because it comes right before Lent, right? That's kind of like the big festival before heading into Lent. We don't do anything like that.
No, it's a big. And it's literally, I think Carnival is one of the events that we have that is mostly like mixed it, because we talk about, as I say on the beginning, about Africans, about Native Indians, about the people that like their religion, not just like the Christians or the Catholics, like not just about that, about the African cultures and religions as well. So it's beautiful. Oh God. It's amazing. Yeah. And samba by itself, it's like, oh God, it's my favorite.
So is samba like a type of dance or music, or?
It's a type of music and a type of dance. So
it seems happier than our like Portuguese fado. Our fado is very sad.
It's so depressing.
Oh no, ours is so happy.
Samba is very happy. It seems.
Samba has nothing to do with sadness. No. Brazil has nothing to do with sadness. Even like when we did like Bossa Nova, if you listen to Tom Jobim, he's sad, but he's already like, okay, I'm here, I'm sad, but I also have this other lady texting me, like, not texting me, but like, looking at me at the party. So we're always like, okay, if things goes good, we party like we drink once. If things go bad, we drink twice. So we have our way like to have and celebrate. So
that's so good. That's so different than us. Like our families and our our Azorian people are just so like somos triste, muito triste, like very sad people.
So my dad will listen to his Portuguese music and it's so depressing. And my mom listens to a lot of Brazilian and it just seems so more like upbeat and like she'll like have it on while she's cleaning and everything. And I'm like, wow, compared to what dad listens to, like, holy
this is
shit.
awesome. Yeah.
Like, why is dad listening to that crap? Like, keep with the Brazilian music.
Yeah, it's so different.
It's just so fun. You guys just know, like, I feel like you guys know how to party.
We know how to live.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's like,
you know how to live.
I used to ask, like, I used to tell one of my best friends, like, when I was growing up, like, she was really good. She is a really good photographer. And my other friend was I am a good journalist, but she was just like awesome. And her writing was awesome. And I was like, fudge cakes, I don't know how to do shit. I don't know how to do anything. And I'm like, what's my freaking talent? I need to find my talent. And I'm like, I had that phase. I was still living in Brazil. And she used to call me and she was like, you know how to live. That's your talent. You do everything way better than everyone. Like if I take you like to a concert and 10 other people are there, and if we do a research, you're going to have way more fun than them. And even if you don't know any single music, and I'm like, oh. It's just like, yeah. And if I take you to the church, you're going to do the same. You're going to have the best. That's your talent. You know how to live. And then like after the Big Brother house, when I realized that when I left, a lot of people were messed up and was sad and was like traumatized and was like, I know it was a different experience for each person, but I lived my best. I had fun.
Yeah.
The way that I could. I learned what I could learn. I came home with a lesson. I didn't come home with the prize, unfortunately. I didn't come home with a boyfriend. I came home like with Joseph as my best friend and Jasmine, Taylor, Alyssa, Mira, like my good friends, and Michael, and I think like it's the way that you experience stuff and the way that you like, okay, all of this happened. I could be just sad and come home like so pissed that I didn't win the money and so mad and blah, blah, blah. And I also could come home and say like, oh, that was fun. I got all these friends and I learned all these things about myself and the way that I should behave, the way that I shouldn't, and the way that I should protect myself the next time that I see this happening, or the way that I should, and like, I think that's pretty much my talent.
I like that.
I accept
it. Know how to live.
I know. I really like your outlook on just life in general. Like it's just so positive and it's so like inspiring. It makes me just be like, I want to live like Indy. Like, this is so great.
It's so crazy because like even when things are not 100% right now, like I'm still like in between, like, okay, what am I gonna do? I don't want to go back to my work. I want to work with social media. How can I reach those people that's gonna help me to grow? And I could be just like so sad and like, just sign up, call my ex-boss and say like, I'm ready to go back flying. That she's gonna give me my job like today if I want to. And thank God. But I also can wake up and say like, no, that's a new version of myself and I'm not looking back. What can I do now that can create what I want to be, what I want to do? And like, things are not 100%, guys. Every single day, like, I'm like, dang it, how am I going to do this?
Right. It's hard. It's not to say that everything comes easy to you in life, but it's just how you choose to react to those things that are happening to you.
And how you choose to deal and not giving up.
Yeah.
Because like things are not easy to anyone, like, and it's just the way that you decide to see it and do your part. Like how can I do, what can I do for myself that's going to change that? This doesn't look really good, but how can I change it? How can I do this better, to change it? Like,
that's such a like life-changing thing for people to realize, is that you have a choice in how you react to things. And you can wake up every morning and choose to be miserable, or you can wake up every morning and even if you're in a miserable situation, you can choose to take action, take steps to get out of it, have a positive outlook, a hopeful outlook, a happy outlook, instead of just feeding into complaints and misery and all of that. So
and it's not just, I don't like the perspective that people say like, oh, just feel that you're happy and you were freaking struggling. If you're freaking struggling, struggle, cry, be miserable, but give yourself a limit.
Right. Yes.
Don't shut yourself down. Don't shut your feelings down. If you're sad, be sad. If you're not happy, don't be happy. If you're like struggling, struggle. But like, okay, I'm going to struggle for 2 days.
Right.
And then I'm going to get up and I'm going to change this.
Right. I'm not going to make this my new
new version.
Lifestyle. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And it's like, it's pretty much, I think, like when I see a lot of positive and healthy people talking on the internet, I'm like, this is not realistic.
Yeah.
I'm struggling. Like, for example, like a guy, like, it's just an example that didn't happen, but someone dumped me and like, like just like living his life and disrespecting me or blah, 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 blah. Of course it's going to hurt. Of course it's going to be suffering, or I lost my job, or someone sick in my family, or I am sick. Of course I'm going to be upset. But being upset will just help me so much. After that, you need to do another thing, because being upset won't bring you the cure, the healing, the the new life, the new job. Being upset will make you stuck on your pain. So it's pretty much like, I don't know. I'm just looking now where I am. I open like so many windows and can't stop talking.
I love it.
So you're in California. That's where you live now. In your area or your community, have you found ways to like find Brazilian connections or people that kind of make you feel like home, or whether it's places to go get your coffee or that kind of thing, or no?
I have so many Brazilian friends, you have no idea. It's it's a lot. They are too much. They're the reason why I start going out since Thursday on Tuesday. So I have like a lot of Brazilian friends, thank God. And like, of course, it took me a while to be able to filter like who are the good people, because there is good and people that resonates with you and people that doesn't every single place.
Of course,
from every single country. So thank God, most of my friends are so like, on doing their own business, opening like, open their own like agencies and business and like applying like for good stuff, studying and learning. And they're here also like on the American dream, on the American journey that I am at. So good of like most of my friends they're all talent, and like it's a blast to have people around me that has this type of lifestyle and perspective. And from my country, like we always help each other with every single thing. Like, oh, we need to sell this, and like you see all the Brazilians posting the same thing.
I love that.
That's so funny. So you guys are very supportive of each other in that community. I love that.
It's just like we stick together, even if we do not really like if we don't really like each other, or if we're not that close, just for being a Brazilian, like, and that I felt that one of my friends told me like, oh my gosh, even those girls that doesn't really like you, they were posting. I'm like, fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take it.
I take out the love.
I'll take it.
So aside from like your friends, are you able to find like places to eat, restaurants that have Brazilian food, all that?
Yeah. In LA, there's a bunch. And every single place that I go in America, since I was like a flight attendant, I used to go like every single city in the US. So they have a lot of Brazilian restaurants, Brazilian little markets. That is a lot.
Yeah. I was going to say my area we're mostly Portuguese, but we have like a big Brazilian community too.
Yes, that's huge.
Yeah.
It's like Brazilians are like ants, you put one ant and look at like 500 million. Yeah.
Well, like I moved away.
But it's so true, because we have like one street that was mostly all like Portuguese like businesses, and all of a sudden for the last like several years it's all Brazilian businesses, which is great, but it's just funny.
It's out of nowhere. You give
hand.
like one finger, we take the whole arm. We're like, we're taking this place.
I love it though. I love it.
It's crazy.
So I moved so that I was from that same area that Kelly was from, and again, huge Portuguese community. Like the city is like 50% Portuguese, so it was very much all Azorians. But I moved away to another state. I'm in New Hampshire now, and there's no culture, no Portuguese, no nothing, and I can't even get like any of the foods. Like I have to.
Can't get nothing.
I'm only like I'm only 2 hours away, so it's really not that bad. But I can't get like chorizo on a pizza or like linguiça pizza or anything like that. I can't. They don't make it. They don't have it. And I'm like, oh, I just want that so bad. So when I go home to visit my parents, I have to like get my fix of all my Portuguese foods because they don't have it here. But
yeah, I always come back home like from Brazil. When I go home, I bring usually one luggage for my parents, like that I get them clothes and stuff. During the year, I start buying things and then I just put together. And when I come back, that same luggage comes with a lot of linguiça.
I love it. I love it.
A lot of chips, the ones that they don't have here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crackers. It's so bad because when I pass immigration, the guys are like, "Hi, miss, do you have any food in your luggage?"
You're like, no, it's all clothes.
Like, nope. And if he opens that freaking bag, it's lots of sausage.
Do they have like a dog sniffing it? Like,
think about that would be so embarrassing. But I bring like literally all my luggage. My whole luggage is food and some drinks like catuaba, cachaça, and things like when my American friends come over, they always want to try. Like
yes. We did like a whole poll on our Instagram where we were asking people to share what like the weirdest things that they have brought over in luggage from like Portugal or whatever when their parents came over from Lisbon or from the Azores
or
anywhere. Like just kind of whether it was when they were immigrating or just at any point in time, like something that they had snuck through. And the things that they said were so ridiculous. Like it was like live snails. Like
oh my god!
Like birds. In your luggage, birds
no!
in your sock. Some man brought live birds in his sock on the plane.
Oh, like he had to be a Portuguese old man. Definitely, they love their birds for some reason.
Like a big bird in the puke.
I was thinking that I was doing bad. I realized that I'm okay.
Oh yeah, lots of chorizo, dried fish, all kinds of stuff, like weird stuff.
I remember traveling with my parents and them coming back with fish, and this was like before obviously 9/11. But I remember coming back from Portugal, and my parents had a cooler of like fish. I'm like, the airplane freaking reeks of your fish.
Oh like, my god! If that happened to me, I would make so much fun of them right now. Like every time, like, you know what? Don't give me advice. I cannot take advice for a person that brings fish on the plane.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. So it's funny to see what people will try to bring in from other countries, and then you realize why they have such strict rules because of all the stuff that
because people really do.
Yeah.
I do bring my food, and I'm like, if you try to take my sausage from my bag, you're gonna have a fight. TSA is gonna have a hard time with me.
There's a Brazilian drink that my mom loves, and I also love, but I'm probably gonna butcher it, so please correct me if I say it wrong.
Caipirinha.
Caipirinhas, yeah. So I didn't realize you're supposed to take it as a shot though, right?
Not really. They do we do as a shot, depending like if you after you eat, like to digest. Sometimes they do it, but it's just like excuse to drink.
Oh, I got really shit-faced off of it.
But
I blacked out.
It's
specifically
heavy.
Just those. I'm like, oh my god, these are so good. These are so good. And I was gone. Didn't even know where I was the next day.
Yes, it's heavy. It's heavy, but it's amazing. I love it.
It's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
Gosh,
I love it. I was like, oh my God, these are amazing. I need to have this all the time. But then I was just like, oh wow, I got really, really drunk.
We got really drunk.
So what's traditional Brazilian cuisine or foods that like, what's your favorite thing Brazilian to eat?
I think it's pretty much like rice, beans, and steak. And, like it's always like Brazilians, like standard foods like that. Like their grilled chicken, grilled steak with rice and beans always. So every single meal that we have, like for lunch and dinner in Brazil, you're going to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not really, we do rice, but we're not really bean people.
We do our meat with like rice and fries. That's the Portuguese.
Yes, we do like fries as well, but more like we do yuca.
Okay.
Like yuca instead of fries, but beans always beans.
Yeah, there's certain dishes for us that are with beans, but it's not typically like the side dish to a meat meal. But
yeah,
that's interesting. So let's go up here because I had a couple other things. So we just learned that the word rapariga is like offensive in Brazil.
Yes. Rapariga is offensive. No, it's not offensive, but it's like,
is it like more like lady of the night kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So like that's just our normal word for girl, which is just like that's
so funny because that is so different. See? And it's like, but it's also different like sides of Brazil and the way that you say it.
Okay. So if somebody said it and they were literally like, we didn't know and we just were saying it as if like, oh, look at there's a rapariga over there. Like, would they be able to tell that we were not meaning it in that way?
Yeah, depends.
Yeah.
Depends what's going on,
Yeah.
Usually like if it's like in my side of the country, if you say like, oh, this is a rapariga and it's funny, but if you say on the Northeast, you're in trouble.
You guys say menina, right? A lot.
Menina.
Menina. Yeah.
What about garota? Because I feel like
garota.
So is that the word that you would use for a girl?
Yeah.
I feel like my family used to use garota for more like they almost meant it when I was being like not behaving badly, but it was more
being bad, like just kind of because my
garota was more. It gave like a connotation that you were like acting up.
Yeah.
Like you were a girl, but you were acting up. Like you were acting like a garota. Yeah. And instead of just like menina or something like that. So it's
it's like when you were on that teenager vibe. It's not
okay.
Menina is more like when you say like
young.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So my family always used it and I always felt like it had this like, oh, you're acting like a garota. Like it was very much like
it's so different.
Like you were acting badly or something. It's so funny how those words have different connotations.
Little words, yes.
Yes, that's so funny. Oh gosh. All right, what else do I have here? Oh, so something that I think is so interesting that most people don't even realize because there are so many people that I meet and they don't even know like Portuguese, where's Portugal? Like they don't even know anything about it in terms of the world, but it's because of Brazil, it's one of the top spoken languages in the world. Like it's, I think, number 6 on the list of like people, like the most spoken language. So for native speakers, Portuguese is number 6 on the list for most spoken language. And I just think that's like surprising to me because people don't even know about Portugal or Portuguese.
Yeah. No.
And it's one of the top languages in the world. It's crazy.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. But
and I think it's because of the population in Brazil that brings that way up, of course.
The population is huge. And also the surrounders like Argentinian and like there's a lot of small countries that nearby Brazil and those people also migrates like to Brazil, and learn Portuguese, I think that counts as well. Oh, so I always get like people always get confused asking me about Portugal, and I'm like,
you're like, no, you're like, I don't know. I'm not from there.
Google. It's free.
Yeah.
Is the dad of, like, as I say in the house, the father of stupid people. Go there. Yeah. Google it. But people don't figure that, like, we speak Portuguese in Brazil because we were colonized by Portugal. And, like, they think, like, we should speak Spanish. And I'm like, I do as well. But how can I do now? It's just so much. I cannot go back. But I think everyone should speak Spanish, actually. Like, my life would be way easier, your lives as well.
Yeah.
Like Portuguese is such like a hard language, and we don't get like a lot of advantage. Like a lot of Latin countries speak Spanish, and if we don't learn Spanish, if we don't really communicate, like educate ourselves, we are not able to communicate with them. So
I know, and there's similarities between the languages, but not enough to if you're not making a conscious effort to learn that, to learn Spanish separately from Portuguese, you're not going to be able to just speak to them when you go.
Not at all. Go over there. Like, so it is hard to, like, when I speak Spanish. No, if someone is speaking Spanish next to me, I can understand. If I speak Portuguese, they can't understand me. So that's the thing. Like people that speak Spanish, they cannot understand my Portuguese.
Right. Yeah. I went to Dominican Republic on my honeymoon, and they speak Spanish, and my husband was like, how are we going to get around? And I said, don't worry, I speak Portuguese. And they were just looking at me like I had 5 heads when I tried to speak to them. They were like, we don't know what you're saying, ma'am.
We have no idea what you're saying, honey.
That's how I felt when I went to Mexico a few months ago with my friend that lives in LA as well. And I was like, oh, I'll be fine. Like, my friend doesn't speak Portuguese or anything, which is Portuguese, but just doesn't speak it. So I'm like, oh, we'll be good in Mexico. Like, I'll talk, we'll be good. I looked at her because she knew more Spanish because she's around so many more Spanish people in LA. And I was like, oh, thanks for helping me out. I'm like, I'm the one that's cultured. I speak Portuguese and I couldn't even speak to them.
It's so hard. People don't understand the Portuguese. It's people that speak Spanish do not figure out anything about Portuguese. It's so hard.
No. Yeah, Spanish is something that everyone should learn how to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I do.
All right. So I have one last thing before we go into, we do like a little mental health kind of talk or discussion at the end of each episode. But before we get into that, my last thing is, I know when Azorians, when they started to emigrate from the Azores, they went to a bunch of different places in the US, Canada, Hawaii, Brazil. So have you seen, or when you were growing up or living in Brazil, did you see any like Azorian influence at all? Like their feasts or their traditions or anything like that? No.
Not really.
Nobody that you knew or anything like that. Interesting. Because they have like different types of like Feast of the Holy Ghost and that, Festa de Espírito Santo. I don't know if any of that.
Maybe I do, but I did, but I just didn't. I don't know, like.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Interesting. Because I'm not sure if I read that more Azorians went to like the southern part of Brazil, but I don't really know. I'm assuming that's where they ended up.
Mess. Brazil is like, there's like one side that all the Germans came, one other side that it's a big mix.
Like a big melting pot. Yeah, that's cool though.
It is.
So our mental health segment, we just kind of talk about different things, but I figured we could open it up to you if you want to either talk about your challenge that you're starting tomorrow. I know that's more like physical health, but I think physical health is huge in terms of helping your mental health.
Not really. My challenge is not physical health.
Okay.
Like it's for mental, emotional, physical, of course, but it's not one thing. It's
perfect.
Pilots. Yeah, because I don't believe like you can be good on one side and not on the other. Like there's so many people that I know that eat super well, but they don't know how to deal with their emotions. So you still, if you eat well, but you cannot sleep, your body won't like respond the way that it should. you won't be able to work out as you want to. And it's like it's a huge mix. So I don't believe one thing works without the other. So yeah.
Perfect. So that kicks off tomorrow for 30 days,
tomorrow,
right?
November 2nd, we're gonna start like the challenge. I need to find the name for the challenge because I didn't yet. But it's gonna be 30 days.
You have 4 hours to decide.
It's gonna be 30 days of challenge. I actually like start like thinking about what I'm gonna do like to get back to my daily, like my regular routine that I used to have it. And I'm missing that since I left the show. I couldn't come back. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this and this. And I called my nutritionist, and she's awesome. She does Ayurveda. I don't know if you guys know what is it. It's like a type of medicine. It's like from India, and they have like different beliefs about the way that we should cook the food, how we should eat the food, what time we should wake up. So the challenge will be like mostly based on Ayurveda. It's incredible. I love it. And
how do you spell that? What is the word?
I need to look it so I don't say
I'm just
wrong.
curious because I'm very interested.
Yes, it's 1 second. Ayurveda.
Ayurveda.
Yes, Ayurveda. Tomorrow I'm gonna start like sharing things. Like it's gonna be in English and Portuguese, so you guys gonna be able to see it. And I made like a like a habit tracker. So we're gonna like every day, each day you can like make a checklist. It's like a checklist that you can what you could do, what you did. I open a little like basket on my Amazon account so people know what kind of like products that I use, what I'm talking about, like so little that is like 15 items. It's not a lot, but it's like it's things that like it's important for me that I learned through my life that is works for me. Not things like impossible things like telling you to, like eat just salad for 3 months. Not that.
Yeah.
Like right. More realistic because like I am not that person. Like if I have like, of course I need to, prioritize my health. But if like someone's birthday and there is amazing cake, I'm gonna eat. Right. I don't want to be the person that's gonna be like saying no to life because I want to be, I think it's more about your mindset. Like you plan your routine and then you can. I think like routine is the way that we have the real freedom in life. Because once you are in your routine, you know your body, you know how it works, you know how your mind works, you know how like, that there's not going to be one day that you're going to just travel or for 5 days and you're going to eat like not in the right time and stuff that's going to destroy everything that you built. So I think like routine and consistency gives you the freedom that we all deserve. So it's pretty much the way that I live. And I will just share that on Instagram starting tomorrow. So
awesome. You can tell our listeners your Instagram account name so that they can follow you and join your challenge too if they'd like.
Yes, it's Indy Santos Official. And there's going to be a link for my website they're getting ready right now. So on the website, we're going to have the habit tracker and we're going to have the tips that I'm giving, but also, and the Amazon store. And also I am releasing the brand for God's My Sugar Daddy. So we're going to put like on the website as well for t-shirts and for jackets and like
God is my sugar daddy.
I like that.
There's a lot of things that I'm working on and everything's going to be on the website. So you guys stay tuned on my Instagram and the website. I have like this, all that we talk about manifestation and energy that I shared a little bit with you guys. I create like an online course that's like teaching people the tools that I used on my daily basis to co-create the life that I want, then that I know that I deserve. So that also is going to be released pretty soon.
That's I have to check that out.
It's gonna be amazing. The Portuguese version, I felt that the Portuguese version was longer because the Portuguese audience is like people like more things in Portuguese, Brazilians, like they like to watch you like for hours. We have like soap operas for 10 months, like
I know.
and the Americans are and the Americans are like just like
fast.
Okay,
Yeah.
tell me how to do it. Tell me what I have to do it. And I did like literally the two versions. And I was like, I'm so proud of myself because I did that before the show by myself. And it's ready now. It should be released before, but it didn't happen. But I know that now it's the perfect time. And it's gonna be awesome.
That's so interesting about how Americans versus the Portuguese people consume content.
Yes, and it's so different. And then like that's why I'm like I'm on the limbo right now, trying to attend like both sides because my followers are half and a half, pretty much, and it's like now it's more Americans actually, but I don't want to give up on my Brazilian people. I need like them like my content as well, and it's like they have been with me longer, so way before the show. So like I want like give the best to them as well. So I'm like working both sides, and why not?
It makes it a lot more work for you too. So it's really nice that you do it. But
because when you do even like my jokes, when I think about my jokes, I think in Portuguese, and when I translate it, it's like sometimes it's like that's not that funny in English.
No, it doesn't translate. Some things doesn't translate correctly in English.
I'm like, dang it. But okay, like things that I used to say in the show, like I did this and this and this to you. What else you want? My kidney? And then everyone was like, and in Portuguese, that's so funny.
Yeah.
So Joseph, when we were talking to Joseph, he actually mentioned that about you. He said, he was talking about how the language barrier can hinder a person's personality. Like if it's not your native language, your personality, your full personality doesn't shine through in the secondary language because it's harder to express things the same way, the way that you think in the language that you think.
For sure.
And he said Indy used to always say, if you guys spoke Portuguese or kind of knew me as a person in my Portuguese, you would like appreciate me so much more and you would know me so much better because the way that you're able to express in English is different than the way
pretty much think. Even the tone of my voice changes when I speak English. Yeah. And like, it's different. It's a different version of me, but I'm working on her.
Listen, I give you so much credit because I
give you a lot of credit. Yeah.
So hard to do. And you speak both languages so well. And like our Portuguese is so bad. Like we've been speaking it since we were born too, but it's so broken and we don't use it often enough and it's not very good. So I know how hard it is.
I still speak it every day to my parents. My parents don't like your parents. My parents don't speak any English. I have to translate everything for them. And things are just so difficult sometimes, especially in the medical field. Yeah. Like my dad's going for surgery soon. So I'm trying to explain things. And I'm like, I don't know how to say that word. Like, what is that word?
No, it's so hard.
Like, crap.
It's crazy hard. And it's like, people don't see that, but it's like, there was a post that I saw. I don't know if you guys saw it. And like, it was pretty much like when you think that someone that speaks, that has an accent is not like that smart, you should remember that person knows a lot of more vocabulary than you, because she's translating, or him, like they are translating the thing in two different like languages. So that person is literally smarter than you, not the opposite.
Right. That's
so true. It's so true.
Look at it.
And that happened to me so many times in the house. There was like, I remember one time there was like, I say something wrong and Joseph started like laughing at me. I didn't care about him because he was my friend. I gave him like their space to do it. He was not laughing like that. I said wrong. It was just like funny. And I was even laughing. And then like, but that other people in the house that I was not like that comfortable with started laughing. And then it was like, oh, sorry, Indy. I'm like, what are you sorry for? I speak your language, you don't speak mine. If I start speaking my language here, you have no clue what I'm saying. So feel sorry for yourself.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you're not well educated. I am.
Yeah. And most people who speak 2 languages speak even more than 2. They speak 3.
Mhm.
Like you said, you speak some Spanish, and people like that's so difficult to do.
My biggest goal is like to speak French. I was like just thinking about like I need to Google and say like I need a French teacher. Because I want to speak French, and then like nobody can hold me anymore. I'm just gonna be the second version of Anita.
I love it. No, but it's so true. It's a hard thing to do, and you did it. Like they have like a threshold for like if you're over a certain age, and it's young, that it's much harder to learn that second language. And you were older. You were 22 when you came over here, 22. And you had to learn it at that age, and that's so much more difficult. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Props to you. You're way smarter.
I know.
than all these other people.
Thank you.
So this was awesome. I thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. We will definitely keep following you along, and we will follow your challenge.
Vibe, so I'm always going to be looking at your stories. Yeah! For your posts. You have such a good and great energy, and you're awesome.
Thank you so much. Tell people to follow me, especially women, because I'm here to talk to about us and for us. And
yeah, we don't need the men. We don't need them.
As much as that, we need them. We need them because we still need people to do things for us. But but we like my goal is like to work on my social media and use my platform to talk about us and grow together with women, empower women. I love like having women like around me and see like we succeed. There's like just the beginning of our big like cause. We are making like big changes in this planet right now. So I'm so proud of us. And like, yeah. And it's like a lot of people that are like, are not still are not able to have the benefit that we have and the lucky that we have. So we can put power together and change that as well. So
I love that.
Now, every single woman to follow me. We're out. I'm always gonna be there watching out for all of us. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to do a screen. I want to take a picture. So
yes, of course. Oh, she's fixing her cabello over here.
It rains, so it's so frizzy.
I will put like a filter because my face is like, Jesus.
No, you're beautiful.
Thanks. That I know, but today,
my hair's all
I'm joking. It's always a joke. Like Alyssa, you should. My phone is not working. Alyssa was always like waking up and said, like, baby, have you feel like wake up that day? You know that day that you wake up and you don't feel like you were that pretty. I'm like,
never had one of those.
I'm like, sorry, honey, I don't relate it.
That's like, so funny.
And she was like, oh my gosh. Good.
Do one of those.